Bwahahaha. My name is Amy 2 and welcome back to Talk to Transformer. So anyway, let's just get into this. Amy 2 was cooking a turkey for dinner at the time. Yeah. This was due to my wife's recipe of lemon butter. As I put the turkey in the oven, it smelled like hot butter. We just assumed it was due to the smell and no one gave any details on how it tasted. What? In this recipe, I am making a spicy lemon butter to put on my turkey. I am planning on using this during cooking to make it milder. My wife suggested this recipe from you guys are amazing. Sorry about the grammatical errors, and there are a lot of them. The Amazonian... What? The Amazon... I can't even read it. The Amazonian headkeeper is also cute. Really love this recipe. After some experimenting, I found some roasted lemons. Even though this recipe is for lemon butter, you can make this lemon butter without any lemons. Excuse me, but it says lemon in its name. How can you not use lemons? What? I just saw the word doppelganger in here. Amy 2 is cooking a turkey for dinner tonight, and everything just went to pot. It was browned and roasted, then sprinkled with maple syrup. What? The smell hit my nose like an odor bomb. So it smelled bad. And I was pretty sure I had caught it on fire. I'm sure it wouldn't have been that bad, but it was like an odor bomb. It smelled bad. But I was certain something fishy was going on with this whole turkey. After cleaning the kitchen, I went to bed. It was only then that I noticed the doppelganger memory. The people my mom had come home with were sisters of one of the old lady. It seemed like everyone was talking about how great of a cook this great cook she was. But not a word was said about how it smelled. My grandma had noted how all the food at ... That one was amazing. Moon was giving his car a fresh coat of white paint. Moon was giving his car a fresh coat of white paint. Haze. He loved to paint, but on this day, the tip of his nose was speckled with goo. What? He ran his hand over the side of the car, embarrassed he had dumped the monster of a car. Even worse than the one before it. It was his first time with a mural. I thought that said manual. That would have made more sense. So he had not done much of it before. The words read, "This is no place to live," under a large picture of their home in its place. Oh man, that's amazing. The words read, "This is no place to live," under a large picture of their home in its place. That's amazing. The streets of the fire lizards only had one shop, the Toyota showroom. So the only shop on the fire lizard street is a Toyota shop. They never walked all the way out of the city, But when they wanted to, big yellow trucks filled the parking lot, and vehicles on their feet dotted the road that stretched out before. What? I think the computer had a stroke. Yeah, run that one through again. Moon was given his fresh car. What? He was giving his car a fresh coat of white paint, not his fresh car. Below the window sat a bicycle rack, and two guys in street clothes, with the Andy calling out from a scruffy black beard. What? That sounds like something that I would say. Outside the windows, friends and family were crowding the sidewalk. Stefan and his friend Danny were sitting on one of the bicycles. Stefan was on the back of a motorcycle that was speeding towards the group of coked up surfers. Excuse me? I think I might have messed up, Stefan said to Danny. I'm not sure why. I knew you weren't the same kid after that month you spent in college, Danny said with a chuckle. The dog scared the crap out of you. It's okay. We all had that one problem and ... What? Moon was giving his car a fresh coat of white paint to keep it looking new. But this is a car that is much older than any other he has owned. Yeah, since Moon doesn't own any other car. It's been maintained by John Haig for over 15 years. And from now on, from how it looks, it's not going anywhere. I'll leave it at that. I actually think this painting is one of the nicest retinoist paintings I've ever seen. It took me a few minutes to make it look ... Moon was giving his car a fresh coat of paint. His headlights still glowing. The manservant was driving and stopped by the white sculpture. Oh, are you talking about Moon's car? He slowly turned on the headlights and looked at it. In the eyes of the adoring boy, the white and blue doors of the car, that's weird, glowed in the morning light. The surface of the car began to shine and the painting was washed away. You just painted it! The man stared for a short while, then turned the lights off. He adjusted his hat and closed his eyes for a moment. He then slowly moved away from the sculpture and went into his bedroom. During the years following the discovery of C9, quite a lot of people called for Moon's reward to be increased. He was now sitting in the ... Slater was camping in the woods with Moon. Slater was camping in the woods with Moon as they encountered the Kinfolk. After a short fight, the Moon Kinfolk were tricked by the sledgers into committing seppuku. Excuse me, what? To keep them from getting the berserker's edge. You may choose who wins or loses, but be aware, Sheathen never says she loses. There are many versions of this story, but the one I believe to be true is that the Moon Kinfolk were asked to get into their sleeping bags. Their mothers were bribed with food, and the chief told them that the next morning the sledges would depart for the hilltops. Once the Moon Kinfolk got into their sleeping bags, they followed the sledgers to a plateau of mountains where the humans' fortifications could... What? Slater was camping in the woods with Moon to celebrate Snow Day with a sled that has since broken and in need of repair. However, when they went to retrieve it, Gunner, Hopper, and Flanders interfered. Who are these guys? Believing that they were going to steal it, Mabel and Suze recognized their animal voices, what? Causing them to abandon the plan and allow the group to go through the Snow Day Express, a train that arrives on snow days. Since they were chased by the family, a zombie Sunday, and some birds. What? A zombie Sunday and some birds. They began to wonder what would happen to their sled. After waking up, Suze believed that the family wasn't stopped by anyone. They would do all kinds of awful things to the kid. When they returned, though, they ... That one was amazing. Slater was camping in the woods with Moonbird when she spotted a bird on the branches of a nearby tree. Moonbird investigated and found an injured bird. Moonbird decided to take the bird and bring it to the clinic at the number 4 family residence for treatment. Surveillance footage shows St. Jude doctors providing treatment to the bird. The footage shows St. Jude staff catching the bird, while Winkleman asks her about how to treat birds and leaves without allowing her to help. Birds and leaves. Winkleman then kills a child and tortures a woman on the University of South Carolina campus, throwing her in the dumpster while playing the drums. What the heck is this? Winkleman then tosses the child into the dumpster by asking her if she is afraid of dogs. What? I like how he throws her into the dumpster while playing the drums. What? This guy is a lunatic. I mean, what do you expect from a guy called Winkleman? What? Oh man. I just glanced at it and it's already amazing. Slater was camping in the woods with Moon with the doors to his tent open. He was eating snowshoes. He was eating snowshoes, even though they were just a few yards away from the road. Moon asked him if he ever felt that they weren't as alone as they thought. Slade said no, the kids never had been. They were just hanging out, and Moon said that it felt as if he and the other guys were the only ones in the world who had been there. They had to be some purpose to everything that was happening to him, and they couldn't deny that. Did you ever think to try to get yourself out of the project? To go outside and see what was around? Moon asked Slade. Oh no, not really. The best part about this is when he was eating snowshoes. What is this? Slater was camping in the woods with Moonflower and Thwarp, and decided to get drunk and play Spot the Gorillas. The group was attacked by the gorilla family and lost several members. What? They later formed the band Zanzibar Baby. Zanzibar Baby. And are still playing today. So, how did this get from the gorilla thing to this? Notable Zanzibar Baby members Darren Skio, and Stringsley Lively, drums. Zanzibar Baby left the scene soon after their breakup, but is known for their iconic Send a Magnum live set. Darren Skio had left the band before the split, and is still in the music business today. Stringsley Lively, that name, Stringsley Lively, had left the band in the early 90s before joining Hard For My Skin. Wait, what? What is that band name? Hard For My Skin? That sounds very innuendous. She is currently in Stolen Bodies with that another band with a really weird name. Stolen Bodies. So you got Zanzibar Baby and Hard For My Skin and Stolen Bodies. But this amazing name, Stringsley Lively. Yeah, man. So amazing. Never gonna forget that one. Slater was camping in the woods with Moon Dancer, a gladiator bikini model. What? A gladiator bikini model. What in the world? Who refused to pose for photos with the already featured bikini-clad Pritchard, wearing his post-Revenge of the Sixth movie costume, though admittedly it was more suitable tanned than usual. Excuse me. When they ran out of food for the night, Little Ice picked up the stick and attempted to chase them away. This was not successful, and he was forcibly returned to the caves, but not before a fight broke out, and Pritchard knocked out the booze-addled Sabido with a blow to the skull that left Little Ice blind in one eye. Oh, Little Ice is the name of one guy. That's weird. That's a weird name. Little Ice's moxie eventually paid off, as he drew Pritchard in a kung fu wrestling. ... Big Boy and Buddy made a nuclear car that could go 400 miles per hour. Big Boy and Buddy made a nuclear car that could go 400 miles per hour on rails, and that had a 200 miles per gallon gas tank. That doesn't even make any sense. They used it to scare Germans. The only problem was they didn't know the Germans could drive. Whoa, that's insulting. At the same time, a man came up with a more technologically advanced car. The Ford Model T. So we're in 1908. Still, the cars they produced in Germany were so basic, they still looked like cars. The engineers knew exactly how to make them great. Part of the reason the Germans were afraid of the Ford Model T is because it was so straightforward. It's just an engine and a chassis. Not really. Okay. So it's almost as if a man with the plan says, people are much more scared of technically ability than of their fears when technology can hide ... What is this? Big Boy and Buddy were way ahead of their time. They made a car that could go 400 miles per hour before the Ford Model T. However, apparently the Ford Model T was more technically advanced. Must be a different timeline. Big Boy and Buddy made a nuclear car that could go 400 miles per hour on the gaudy off-road city roads of California. That doesn't even make any sense. Miller said, when they started in California, you could easily see how it would be affected by the environment. One of the guys involved from the North American division said, is it bad to hit the color we got, or are they just running it down the road? Their experiments gave rise to the idea that energy-rich cars such as the Helios could be driven by solar panels. In 1958, Helios sent Sun, a Picasso, and 3 Sputnik satellite pics to Earth to NASA. What we needed was a method to put people on Mars, Mike Miller explained. You were 5 minutes from Denver. ... What in the world? Big Boy and Buddy made a nuclear car that could go 400 miles per hour without air conditioning. And they also built a plutonium-powered submarine, which was used to navigate the Mekong River. A few years after, they received funding to develop a hand grenade made of an element called Pu-238. And it worked well enough to be used by U.S. military. It proved to be a very useful tactical weapon. Thoughts on the story? Were you on the tip of your fingers when it hit the general public? And were you happy with the technology that was developed? Does it make you think about how we build technology and bring it to the masses? Do you think the history books need to tell the story of how much this stuff goes on in civilian life? It wasn't as funny as the others. Big Boy and Buddy made a nuclear car that could go 400 miles per hour, breaking the speed limit by 100 miles per hour. The speed limit is 300 miles per hour? What? After this incredible feat, Poch was working on his next problem, managing nuclear insanity. The subatomic world has provided us with many beautiful but disastrous innovations in the last 100 years. The atomic bomb did not set out to conquer the world, but to make humans die in ways they could not imagine. Excuse me, what? Although the public accepts the theory of radioactivity today, the effects of ionizing radiation are still an important subject, especially when a hot air balloon, a buggy, or a small person is not wearing a safety jacket. Lucky Buddies also display dozens of these lost inventions of our new era, exotic tools that can do ... I'm not going to say that one, it's not good enough. It's just a bunch of mumbo-jumbo. Big Boy and Buddy made a nuclear car that could go really fast. My father still has that old nuclear car in his garage. There was a team called the Ravenous Pigmen that had a small ship that was driven by a submarine. Since then, there have been a lot of flights, including aerial missions in the War of the Worlds remake. What has been your favorite mission so far? Oh, I've been really enjoying the aerial assault missions on Ghost. I love Obituary because we blew up a whole carrier group with the submarine. It was great because the explosions were really detailed and there were some pretty good explosions. You can tell when something was left or for later. It also showed that the submarine wasn't just a dumb engine without weaponry, or that we ... But anyway, I'm gonna have to end this video here. If you liked it, please subscribe. Go look at my older videos, and stick around for my later videos. And, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.